The day my fiancé died in a tragic accident while I slept in a coma, leaving me a lifetime of heartache. My fiancé and I were inseparable, the kind of couple people envied. We had plans, dreams, and a future ahead of us. But all of that ended on an ordinary day, a day that started like any other and ended with my world in ruins. It was a month before our wedding. The day began with the sun pouring through the window and the sound of his voice humming in the kitchen. I remember the smell of coffee and the way he smiled at me as I joined him. We were heading out to look at wedding dresses, a milestone I'd been both excited and nervous about. "You'll look beautiful in anything," he said, his voice warm and full of love. "I can't wait to see you walk down the aisle." The drive was peaceful, the kind where you feel the weight of happiness settling over you. He drove while I scrolled through pictures of dresses, asking his opinion even though I knew he didn't care much about the details. I told him I was going to close my eyes for a minute just to rest. "I'll wake you when we get there," he said softly. Those were the last words I heard from him. When I woke up, everything had changed. I was in a hospital bed, surrounded by machines and the sterile scent of antiseptic. My body felt foreign, weak, and heavy. A nurse was there, her face a mixture of relief and dread. "You've been in a coma for 11 days, she explained. "There was an accident." Her words didn't make sense at first. Coma? Accident? Felt like she was talking about someone else. Then I remembered the car, the drive, his voice. "Where is he?" I asked, my voice trembling. Her face fell, and the silence that followed was unbearable. "He didn't make it," she said. I can't describe the pain that ripped through me. It was like every part of me shattered at once. I screamed, sobbed, and begged for it not to be true. The nurses tried to comfort me, but their words were meaningless. He was gone. The love of my life, my partner, my future, gone. The grief was suffocating. Each breath felt like a cruel reminder that I was alive while he wasn't. The nurses told me to rest, but how could I? Every time I closed my eyes, I saw him. Every memory, every plan, every dream came crashing down around me. I felt like a shell of a person, hollow and broken. The details of the accident were explained to me, though I didn't want to hear them. Another driver, trying to overtake a truck, had swerved into our lane. The impact was catastrophic. He had held on long enough to ask about me, but his injuries were too severe. He didn't make it to the hospital. The other driver survived with minor injuries, and the unfairness of it all crushed me. The days in the hospital blurred together. Time lost meaning. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't think of anything but him. The nurses brought in a counselor, but her words felt distant. All I could focus on was the emptiness inside me. The guilt was unbearable. What if I hadn't fallen asleep? What if I had asked him to take a different route? What if? When I was discharged, I should have felt relief. Instead, I was terrified. Going home meant facing a world without him. His jacket was still on the back of the chair, his shoes by the door, his toothbrush in the bathroom. Every corner of the house was filled with him, and the weight of his absence was suffocating. I spent days lying in bed, unable to move, unable to function. Friends and family reached out, but I couldn't face them. What could I say? That I was broken beyond repair? That I didn't know how to keep going? Their words of comfort felt hollow, and their attempts to help only reminded me of what I had lost. Months passed, and the world moved on without me. Friends stopped calling as often, and the casseroles left on my doorstep dwindled. I was left alone with my grief, which was both a blessing and a curse. The silence was deafening, but it was also the only thing that felt real. One day, a friend came by unannounced. She brought flowers and a forced smile, saying, "You need to start moving on. He wouldn't want you to live like this." Her words stung, but they planted a seed. Was I betraying him by staying stuck in my grief? Or was I honoring him by holding on to the life we had planned? I started small. A walk to the end of the street, cooking a meal, opening a box of his belongings my mom had packed for me. Each step forward felt wrong, like I was leaving him behind. But I kept going, even when it hurt. Visiting his grave was the hardest thing I've ever done. Seeing his name etched in stone made it all so final. I brought flowers, the kind he used to buy me, and sat there for hours, talking to him, crying, and apologizing for things I couldn't change. It didn't bring closure, but it brought a strange kind of peace. Over time, I began to rebuild. Therapy helped, though it didn't take the pain away. Taught me how to live with it, how to carry it without letting it consume me. I started finding small moments of joy again, a sunset, a song, a memory that made me smile instead of cry. Years later, I met someone new. I wasn't looking for love, and at first it felt impossible. How could I let someone else into my heart when it still belonged to him? But this new person was patient and kind, understanding in a way I didn't expect. He never tried to replace him. He just stood by me, offering support when I needed it. It wasn't easy. There were moments of guilt, of doubt, of feeling like I was betraying the love I had lost. But I learned that grief and love can coexist. Loving someone new didn't mean forgetting him. It meant carrying him with me as I moved forward. The ring he gave me never left my finger. It wasn't just a symbol of our love, it was a part of me, a reminder of the life we shared and the person he made me. I still wear it, not as a way to hold on to the past, but as a way to honor him. Life will never be the same without him. There will always be a hole in my heart, a part of me that aches for him. But I've learned that grief doesn't have to define me. It's a part of my story, but it's not the whole story. I carry him with me in everything I do, in every step I take forward.